Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for calling, saying that you could not hear us as well as you would like to. And what we will do, we will give you a repeat performance. What I had done, I had interviewed Miss NACP, and I will start back over because Miss NACP and Miss Soul Bazaar. Now, I had thanked all of you for participating in Soul Bazaar 85. I thank the exhibitors. I thank those that participated in any form. And I have with me, once again, Miss Soul Bazaar 85. And what is your name?
Sierra Draper.
Sierra Draper, what school do you attend?
I attend Star Spencer High School.
Who is your principal?
Mrs. Gloria Factory.
Who encouraged you to get into the Soul Bazaar?
Mrs. Nancy Davis.
It's not surprising then that Soul Bazaar 85 was dedicated to Mrs. Nancy Davis and Mrs. Letty Ruth Hunter. It was dedicated to them because of 16 years of believing, working, and achievement. Now, Miss Soul Bazaar 85, I saw you. I admired your talent. I admired your modeling ability. But I want to know, how did you feel when you were riding down Broadway Street with the policeman stopping people for you up at the front of the parade?
I felt good and proud because I was black.
Oh, well, that's really good. If you felt good and proud because you're black, you are on your way. One thing about being black, God made you and you are beautiful. You know, if you're white, you're beautiful too. And if you are red, you're beautiful because God made you and God does not make any junk. Sierra, I talked to you about your plans. What are your plans?
My future plans are to finish high school and become a lawyer.
Well, certainly that's a great occupation, and I do hope you're a lot of success as a lawyer. Thank you so very kindly. Our first runner-up for Miss Soul Bazaar 1985 was
Aletha House.
Aletha House. You are the daughter of
Mr. and Mrs. James House.
You told me a few minutes ago how you love your parents. Would you tell me again?
Well, I love my parents because they support me in everything I do, and they encourage me, and they're just wonderful people.
Well, Miss Soul Bazaar, Sierra, what do you think about your parents?
I think they're real nice and sweet, and they support me in everything I do, too.
Well, I'm so happy that you young people think that because there are a lot of young people out there in radio land who say they love their parents. Their parents work and send them to school, and they take toiletology, the science of studying English, math, and what have you in the toilets. You be looking for them, and they'll be in the toilets. But I'm happy that these students love their parents. Now, what are your future plans?
My plans are to go to OU College and study social relations. And after I finish that, I plan to have a career in it, like, for instance, politics or something like that.
Well, politics, you are social. If you don't believe it, ask President Reagan, because he's doing a good job with those scissors. He's cutting it, and he's cutting it deep. But that's what he promised. I would like to thank both of you young ladies for being a part of Soul Bazaar 85. Did I ask you who your parents were? I can't miss that opportunity because there's so much to say about parents.
My parents are Mr. and Mrs. L.J. Stark.
Well, thank you. I'm receiving so many complaints, and I hate to mention this, from social agencies that are telling me the large number of black parents that are being abusive to their children. Now, I would like to raise my voice today against child abuse. And I'm talking to those of you that know. And you know who I'm talking about. I don't want to call your names, but I will call your names if you get smart with me. I'm only saying that we've got to stop abusing our children. And I'm talking about sexual abuse, I'm talking about physical abuse, and I'm talking about mental abuse. Those of you in Meridian, Oklahoma, I have some great news for you. At the St. Paul's Baptist Church, next Sunday at 3:30, the St. Paul Baptist Annual Musical will be held. Mrs. Mae Williams is the director. You will have one of the greatest treats of all times, according to Mrs. Annabelle Brooks. Mr. Paul Brothers of Tulsa, Oklahoma, will be the guest soloist and organist. All of it will take place at the St. Paul's Baptist Church in Meridian, Oklahoma. Now, all of you people that live anywhere, remember, if you want a good musical, go to Meridian, Oklahoma next Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Reverend Frank Dewberry Jr. is the minister. Now I'm going to present to you Miss NACP. Miss NACP for 1985 for Oklahoma City.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shelley Marie Luper Wilson bringing you the news. Last Monday night, I was crowned Miss NACP for Oklahoma. It was the greatest honor of my life, and I would like to thank those that helped me with memberships and donations. You have put me in a position where I'll be going to Dallas, Texas, where I will compete with Miss NACP contestants from all over the United States. I want to win for my state and my city, and I can win with your help. You can help me in the following ways. First, by buying NACP youth memberships. The memberships are only $3 for the year, $5 with the crisis, or by donating money for children who are not financially able to buy NACP memberships, or planning a program for the NACP Youth Council. I need your help. If you have any ideas, call me here at the session. The number is 424-3376.
Okay, suppose they would want to write, Shelley.
Write to the NACP P.O. Box 11106.
In Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and that zip is 73111. I need your help today out in Radio Land. I was shocked with the small number of people that know black women in business. A committee of us sat at the Soul Bazaar yesterday as we talked about business, and we were shocked because most people in Oklahoma City and in the state of Oklahoma do not know anything about black business women. Now, what I want you, the most intelligent radio audience, to do for me today, I want you to call me here at KAEZ and give me the names of the black women you know that are in their own businesses. Call me here, and I want to see it because on next Saturday night at the Miss Black Oklahoma City pageant, we will honor and salute black women in business. This is what we would like to do. We would like to invite these black women as our guests to Miss Black Oklahoma City. And we would like to see these women walk down the aisle so that younger girls, young men will see these women and say, if these black women can make it, everything would be all right. Now, don't call me about any women that's in the prostitution business. Don't do that. I'm talking about a business they can be proud of. I am talking about the women in business. Mrs. Hunter, I am so happy that you are here today. And I just want to ask you a few questions. How did you feel when you found out the Soul Bazaar 85 was dedicated to you?
I was really shocked, Mrs. Luper, when I picked up the beautiful program of the Soul Bazaar of 1985, and to see the two persons' pictures on the front of the book, and to whom you were dedicating our program for this year too, because we have been there for a number of years, and I think you said something like 16 years, and we have been working with the Soul Bazaar, and I feel that it has been a wonderful activity. And if people miss coming out this year, you really missed a treat, and especially on last night, because last night, I think even the exhibitors and all were part of the program. They were all getting in, and they were clapping hands, bowing heads, moving bodies. So if you weren't there last night, which was our finalization of the Soul Bazaar, you missed a wonderful treat because it was really wonderful. And I just felt just most elated and delighted. And I asked Mrs. Nancy Davis, Mrs. Davis, did you see what was on the front of the book? And she said, yes, lady. She said, I saw that our pictures are on the front of the Soul Bazaar. So we've never made history. We made it this year in 1985 at the Soul Bazaar.
You certainly deserve it, and it's unusual to have people to work like you and Nancy have worked for the past 16 years. And from those that have worked with the Soul Bazaar through the years, we would like to say thanks, Nancy, and thank you, Letty. This was one of the greatest Soul Bazaars that we have ever had. And we want to talk first about John Marshall High School that had the largest number of students participating. And we are very grateful to teachers like Mr. Richard Garrett, Mrs. Dolly Turner, the activity director, Mrs. Dorothy Evans, the assistant principal, Mrs. Morgan, and others that worked with in giving our young people an opportunity to be exposed to the Soul Bazaar, the art festival, and other things that downtown Oklahoma City offered. We are also very grateful that Mrs. Dolly Turner put on a show, and it was a show. The opening of the Soul Bazaar was one of the most beautiful things that you will ever want to see. And we had this year a guest model that not only modeled professional clothes, but some that she had designed, Mrs. Alice Strain, and it was something to remember. We have some people that are calling in, and what we want you to do is to call in. We're going to tell you everything that happened. We're going to announce all of the winners, so all you have to do is to hold it out there, please. Okay, now, that was a show. That was a fashion show.
Because I think I heard you on the way say a few minutes ago, say that you're going to read all the winners before the program is over. And I think you were asking Calvin to bring your book, and Calvin, your book is on the way out here. And you will be able to tell them all of the winners, because we really had some wonderful persons who did a great job, and they do this recognition on your program today. So just sit there and hold tight. In a few minutes, we're going to be reading off to you all the winners of the Soul Bazaar of 1985.
We must also salute Chancellor Cheryl Dina's Daycare Center, located at 2611 Northeastern and 1643 Northeast to 50. The Chancellor Cheryl Dina's Daycare Center's presentation at the Soul Bazaar was out of sight. It's not surprising that so many people are putting their children in that daycare center. Mrs. Hunter, I know you were dumbfounded when that group of children from the daycare center presented their program and then closed it by singing, "We Are the World."
We are the children, right?
Oh, we are the children of the world. I thought it was "We Are the World." Many times as I've heard. But anyway, everybody on radio audience know I'm getting old. Friday is my birthday, and I'm certainly getting old. Okay.
Yes, they sang "We Are the Children." And you know, the surprising thing, Mrs. Luper, but we wanted the youth to sing it, the older group. Now, those were young people there, and their ages, I imagine, was ranging from 2 to 5 years of age, 5 years old. And then we asked some of the teenagers to sing that song, and you won't believe that they didn't know that song. And those people sang it so beautifully. I'm sorry that they weren't there to hear the little people sing.
Well, that's because of the type of training they are getting at the Charles Cheryl Dina's Daycare Center. And I am very grateful that you have called me to tell me Mrs. Russell, who owns a Russell Distributing Company. And we have from you out in Radio Land, one businesswoman. And we are certainly inviting Mrs. Russell. Keep calling us here at KAEZ here in Oklahoma City. So today, I want you to know how many children the Johnson Cheryl Dina's Daycare Center took to the Soul Bazaar. I say it was about 75. What would you say, Mrs. Hunter?
Well, I'd go along with that guess if it wasn't 100, because I tried to count them, but she had so many up there in each section. I'm sure, well, I'll just say it was 75 or more, because she really brought those children there, and those children were really elated. They were so happy that someone was interested enough to bring them there, and then they were so happy to be on the stage to sing and present numbers to the group. And each individual was up there, and he had something special to do, and they just performed wonderfully.
I know that now we better tell you that Soul Bazaar 86 will be May 2nd and 3rd next year, and we would like to have your participation. We're starting out now telling you about it so you can be ready. And talking about Soul Bazaar 86, I have a beautiful young lady here, and they tell me she's a businesswoman. Now, how would I know? I would know because that's what I know. Would you give us your name, please?
Quantum Starts.
Quantum Starts. I saw you at Soul Bazaar 85. What did you think of the Soul Bazaar?
Ms. Luper, I thought it was so nice.
I'm happy that you thought it was nice, because I thought it was nice, and I think you're nice because you were there. Did you happen to have had an opportunity to talk about your product at the Soul Bazaar?
Yes, I did, Ms. Luper.
But tell me about your business, since you're a businesswoman.
I'm in cosmetic. The name of my cosmetic is Joe Quan B.
Well, that's an unusual name. Joe what?
Quan B.
Joe Quan B. What does that mean?
It's a cosmetic company.
It's a cosmetic company. And once again, what is it?
It's a cosmetic company owned by two black ladies.
Now, Mrs. Starks, you have come here to tell the 600,000 people that are listening to the Clara Luper radio show that two black women in Oklahoma City owns a cosmetic company.
We sure do, Ms. Luper.
Okay, who are the two black women?
Joe Jackson and myself, Quantum Starts.
Joe Jackson. I want to see Mrs. Joe Jackson. When can I see Mrs. Jackson?
She's outside right now, Ms. Luper.
Well, you go tell Mrs. Joe Jackson that I want to see her. If she's outside, I want to see two black women that own a cosmetic what?
Company.
And what does that mean? Break it down so those of us that will be going to Hoffman next Sunday can truly understand it.
The company is made up of 5 people. My husband, William Starks, her husband, Mr. I.V. Starks, and Joyce Johnson.
All right, now it's made up. You got 5 people that own the company.
Correct, Ms. Luper.
Okay, why did you decide to go into the cosmetic industry?
I love cosmetics. It comes natural to me. And as I pass along, go places, I saw that cosmetic is needed for many women. If many women use this product, they will enhance their beauty.
Well, we certainly need to enhance our beauty. And to do it, you're telling me that I can use your cosmetics?
Yes, Ms. Luper.
Where can I buy it?
1712 North Nebraska.
Okay, now don't take me so fast. You know, I've told you that I'm having a birthday, and that means that you're supposed to react to my birthday because I'm having a birthday Friday. Now, you're telling me the address is what?
1712 North Nebraska.
Well, that cosmetics is probably so expensive that a poor school teacher couldn't afford it.
No, Ms. Luper, it's not that expensive.
It isn't?
No.
Is it on a level where the average person can buy it?
Yes, it is, Ms. Luper.
Okay, well, I'm going to look forward to buying it, and I understand that you will be part of Soul Bazaar 86.
Yes, we will.
Oh, well, thank you. Last night, it was really interesting. At the musical, we had 5 people to sign up to be in Soul Bazaar 86. You have a very beautiful partner.
Thank you, Ms. Luper.
She has just walked into the studio, and I wish you could see her. She's well-dressed, all smiles, and I would like to, you are Mrs. Jackson?
Yes, I'm Joe Jackson.
Well, Joe Jackson, I would like to congratulate you. I understand that you are the owner of a cosmetic company.
Yes, we are, Mrs. Luper, and I understand it's your birthday.
No, my birthday is Friday. Now, remember that my birthday is Friday, May 3rd. That's the time you take some cosmetics and wrap it up real nicely and deliver it to me.
I'm going to deliver you a special birthday person, and it all will be Joe Quan B Cosmetics. And when we get through with you, Ms. Luper, you're going to be uptight and out of sight.
Uptight and out of sight. Boy, my husband would really love it. And I would like to certainly thank you for just going in business. And this is what we are doing. We are looking for business women because I want the young blacks and the young whites to see some successful black women. We always talk about what black women are doing on one side. Let's build it up on the other side. Come on and call me here and tell me about the black women in business. What do you see as a future of your business, Mrs. Jackson?
In the future, Mrs. Luper, we are planning to expand our business, and we hope at this time next year we'll have at least 5 to 15 youth employed at our business. And this is what it's all about, to employ our black young girls and boys today.
Now, I can't let you segregate because I hate segregation with a passion. You're saying you're hire a black youth. You cannot discriminate against our white youth.
We will hire white, black, blue, or green, any color.
Okay, what are you looking for? What kind of personalities will you be looking for?
I'm looking for the same personality I saw at the Soul Bazaar Friday night.
Oh.
I saw some beautiful young ladies and gentlemen there. And I'm looking for some of those to employ those to help them further their education. We're also giving away 1 scholarship for this year. And we plan on giving another away, okay, to some black girl or boy, white girl, blue girl, any girl.
Okay, my radio audience, all my guests have to be very particular because I don't want to fall in that segregated pattern. I've been getting letters from all over the United States, and I've been taking.
First of all, I was very shocked, but I was so honored and thankful that I was accounted worthy for that honor, and I was just elated.
You were elated, and the audience was also elated. I noticed your mother was in that audience, and she was all smiles. Tell me about her, and what did she say afterwards?
Well, Mother, I guess some kind of way she must have knew about it before I did, of course, and she's very supportive of me, and she goes with me wherever I'm in service or asked to perform. And she was just excited for it with me because we're very close. Since my father's been deceased since I was 4 years old, so we're just very close, and wherever I am, she's there.
Your sister was all smiles. We better tell them who your mother is.
My mother is Mrs. Thelma Brown. She's the wife of the late Bishop Coy Brown.
All right, now, your sister was there last night, and you two were dressed alike. That was really beautiful. Now, let's talk about Bernie, the musician. Tell me the choirs that you have played for.
I have worked with City Refuge Radio Choir, and I also played for the Hallelujah Choir. I have worked with the Church of God in Christ Mass Choir, where the president is Sister Jessie Maysap. I have also worked with Praise Center's Choir, where Johnny Maroney is the pastor there.
What do you see in your future?
In my future, it's been impressed upon me to want to record. I have been sort of dragging my feet on that, which is a thing you should not do. You should not procrastinate. It's one thing that I know Mrs. Luper tells us to go ahead and do whatever it is that you think you can accomplish. So in my immediate future, I do want to record. I think the Lord would bless me in that area.
Well, I want to congratulate you, and I want you to keep on keeping on. Those of us that can't sing, we can push those of you that can because you warmed our hearts. Thank you so very kindly for being our 1985 Musical Festival Queen. Okay, speaking of thank yous, I would like to thank those YHO young women, young homemakers of Oklahoma from that Star Spencer area. They had 13 automobiles along with their queens and things in the 1985 Soul Bazaar Parade. But the Soul Bazaar Parade was led by those handsome motorcyclists, the Magic Wheels, the Zodiacs, all those motorcycles. And somebody was talking about those motorcycles. They didn't know black people own those motorcycles. I said, let me tell you something about black people. If Jerry Todd can ride a motorcycle like he can fix an automobile, and he does a great job, he can certainly get all of the officers of the Zodiac Club together, all of those Starks and all of those, and say, let's go for it. And they went for it. Now, congratulations to the motorcycle riders, but you wait every year because you want to know who won the bake contest. I can tell you who didn't win the bake contest, and I can also tell you who won the bake contest. So I want you to stay tuned because this is a Clara Luper radio show, and this portion of our show is brought to you by the M&W Welding Company located at 2601 Northeast 23rd Street. The telephone number is 424-1482. Don't be afraid. Call for some burglar bars. The House of Bingo is open every weekday at 7 p.m. It's located at 3613 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. That's the House of Bingo. Mr. George Singer, House of Bingo, 3613 North Everett Street. Congratulations on the 16th Annual Soul Bazaar from the ABC Upholstering Company, located at 3723 Spring Lake Drive. The telephone number is 427-2176. If it can be upholstered, you might not think it can. Mr. Horde can do it. All you have to do is call 427-2176 in Oklahoma City. Now for the winners. The 1985 Soul Bazaar Apple Pie Champion is Mrs. Ann Brantley. The 1985 Sweet Potato Pie winner is Mrs. Florence Edwards. Now for the frosted cake. The third place goes to Mrs. Florence Edwards, who can not only bake a pie, but she can bake a cake. Second place to Mrs. Marie Thomas. And the first place in the frosted cake winner with a big bouquet of flowers in the midst of a chocolate cake, Mrs. Pearline James of Oklahoma City. Now for the pound cake winners. The third place, Mrs. Xenia Debos of Spencer, Oklahoma. The second place is that champion, Mrs. Brenda Looney of Midwest City. But the winner of the pound cake, Mrs. Myrtle Simmons of Spencer, Oklahoma. Let me repeat that. The winner of the pound cake for 1985 at Soul Bazaar 85, Mrs. Myrtle Simmons. Now I have the champion here. Dr. Walker, what did you think of Soul Bazaar 85?
Mrs. Luper, Soul Bazaar 85 was as beautiful as ever, and I was ever so moved by those groups. Ooh, they can sing.
They can sing.
Oh, they can sing.
I heard somebody tell me, ooh, our choir really sings. I said, great, but you got to get out and hear somebody else. You got to hear other people sing. And you worked with the moonwalk. You were there every day during the Soul Bazaar.
Yes, we were. We had a wonderful time, Mrs. Luper, as usual, and to those who failed to attend, we invite them not to miss it next year. We're looking forward to next year.
It will be May 2nd and 3rd, 1986, and we are inviting you now. We're inviting all bands to participate. And what can you say about that Rogers Middle School band? That band was looking good. But, Dr. Walker, it was kind of sad. As I looked at a band that had been with us through the years in the Soul Bazaar, the Classen High School Band. That was a band that was at the front of the parade, and they marched with so much dignity. And that would be their final performance on the streets of Oklahoma City. So we are very grateful to Classen High School. Once again, those of you that would like to have pictures of the Soul Bazaar, the parade, all you beautiful queens, all you'll have to do is to call Studio 75 and International Photographers, the telephone number, 239-6076, 239-6076. Well, Miss LaWanna Jones is a businesswoman called Lucia's Beauty Shop. All you have to do is keep calling us. And those of you that we call, now let me tell you, we want you as part of that Miss Black Oklahoma opening scene when we salute black women in Oklahoma City in business. Don't let us down. And I don't want you, Mrs. Weekly, and others saying you didn't hear about it. I'm telling you about it on the Clara Luper radio show. Will you be here next week?
Yes, we will, Miss Luper. And also, I would like to issue an invitation to all in your listening audience to come to El Reno to our 4th anniversary celebration of Mr. David Spears. This will be Saturday, Miss Luper, from 10 until 4 in Burton Park in El Reno, and we invite all to come over.
Well, certainly. Has it been 4 years?
It has been 4 magnificent years. God has blessed us, Miss Luper, with 4 magnificent years in El Reno.
Well, God has certainly blessed Sir Charles, the owner of Sir Charles, the tailor's shop, located at 6225 Southeast 15th Street. The telephone number is 733-7600. Thank you, Mrs. Gloria Matthews, and you have been selected as one of our businesswomen to walk out in front of Miss Black Oklahoma City on Saturday night. Mrs. Matthews is the owner of Tonsils Chardina's Daycare Center, 2611 Northeastern and 1643 Northeast 50th Street. Hoffman and Grayson, here's your news. On next Sunday, all people from Hoffman and Grayson, Oklahoma, are to go home to Grayson. They will worship at Grayson's Baptist Church at 11 a.m. and will immediately go to the Grayson Community Center for a dinner. There will be a carcade from Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Wichita, Kansas. We will all arrive in Grayson at the same time. Now, we will meet in the home of Mr. and Mrs. Leotis Marshall on Tuesday evening at 6:30. It will be at 6:30 on Tuesday evening. That's all the Greyhoff Club. The Langston Alumni Chapter will meet on Thursday night at 7 o'clock p.m. in the Stewart's Building. Is that right? The second Thursday night.
In May, which would be May the 9th.
May 9th, okay.
They meet each second Thursday.
The chapter will have an interesting program for the remainder of the year. So come on the second Thursday, that's May 9th. That's from the president of the Oklahoma City chapter of Langston Alumni Association, come and be a part of the program that the chapter has provided. So many of you have called me about Millwood School. Well, I'll tell you that story. All you have to do is to hold on to the Clara Luper radio show. Here's Onita.
Roth Funeral Home announces the services of Mrs. Alita Faye Thomas of 4412 Northeast 16th Terrace is pending with the Roth Funeral Home. Temple Funeral Home announces the services of Mrs. Zelma Halstead of 1112 Northeast 48th will be Wednesday at 11 a.m. at the Ebenezer Baptist Church. Services for Mrs. Carolyn Birding of 2148 Glen Allen is pending with the Temple Funeral Home. Services for Gerald Pittman of 838 Northeast 7th Street is pending with the Roth Funeral Home. Pollard Funeral Home announces the services of Mr. Timmy Taylor of California is pending with the Pollard Funeral Home. As we extend to you tonight our sympathy, we would like to say, sometimes the road of life seems long as we travel through the years. With a heart that's broken, we falter in our weariness, and sometimes we sink beside the way. But God will lean down and whisper, child, there will be a brighter day.
Thank you, Onita, and we would also like to thank all of you that remembered us during the death of our cousin Joshua Shepherd. Joshua Shepherd was laid to rest yesterday. Services were held at the New Hope Baptist Church, and his body was carried back to Okmulgee County and was buried in New York, Oklahoma. And on behalf of the Shepherd family, the sons and the daughter, we would like to say thank you for remembering us during that period. The Millwood Elementary School has made news with their principal, Mrs. Miller. We told you about Pamela Farmer. We've been involved this week in the Soul Bazaar, and we have not gotten all of the details. But we do have some facts that we would like to leave with you. Fact number one, Mrs. Pamela Farmer was suspended from school by the superintendent, Dr. Leon Ed. And it was quite an interesting thing because of the conditions under which that particular position has gotten into. We will bring you details, and we would like for Dr. Ed, Mrs. Miller, and others from that district, or the president of the board, to come out and tell us their story, their side of it. It's always three sides to a story. I have brought you some sides, and certainly I would like to thank the parents for the letters that you have written to me, thanking me for having the nerve to tell that story. Well, if I went to Selma, Alabama, and faced the posse men, certainly I would not be afraid to face the people in Oklahoma City. And if I laid in front of that truck down to the garbage, during the garbage strike, I'm certainly not afraid of anything else. I will bring you the story. Whether it's Millwood School or John Marshall High School, I will tell the story. And that's our duty. If it had not been for the press, we would never heard about Watergate. And who would have known which direction this country would have gone into? Yes, I shall tell the news, and don't blame me because I worked for Abram Ross, and Abram Ross said, I don't do nothing. I don't make the news. I tell it. So if at Millwood School, if you all having shuffles over there, I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna call it the Millwood Shuffle between the principal and the teacher. I will tell it in spite of everything else. But being very serious, we do have a responsibility in education. I would like to congratulate the parents who are busing their children back to school. I want to see that first busing day. They tell me that they got to go over on Northeast 36 and pick up one, and then they have to go out there to Sedition and pick up another. We're going to have a busing time in Oklahoma City. And once again, I would like to repeat, Oklahoma City is a champion of blacks fighting for segregation. All over this country, they will be meeting in Dallas, Texas to fight for integration. Those of you that are in Oklahoma City, don't forget the Miss Black Oklahoma City pageant will be Saturday night at exactly 7:30 p.m. It will open with a grand opening of the Oklahoma City businesswomen, and they are beautiful. If you want to see a style show, remember it's at Kirkpatrick Center. That's the Center Theater All you'll have to do is go straight down 50th Street, Northeast 50th and Eastern, and you will see a sign. Don't forget the Kirkpatrick Theater. You're going to help Shelley, and I would like to thank you. We've had 2 national winners from Oklahoma City. And not only are you going to help Shelley, you are going to help Gregory Johnson, the son of Mr. and Mrs. Edward Johnson, who's Mr. NACP. We want you to help them not just because they'll be winners, but because they are carrying the banner for NACP. And I would like to tell you that we are in trouble, and the sad part about it, we don't know what segregation is doing to us on our jobs, in this housing market, or in any other area. As I look at the clock on the wall, I know Clara Luper is going to have to say goodbye to you, and I really hate to say goodbye to you every week, because I know you will go to Studio 75 and to International Photographers, and you will see the pictures that I've been talking about. Most of all, you will be here next week, and you will be with me on Saturday night when we crown Miss Black Oklahoma City. Don't forget my birthday. Now, don't you forget my birthday. I don't want you to send flowers when I die and resolutions saying you resolve that you remember Clara Luper on her birthday. And this is Clara Luper saying to you, wherever you are and whatever you do, I do love you. You're so sweet.
All hit music. KAEZ, Oklahoma City.